Check at the matchups. Our starting five for both teams. First for Toronto, Lowry and DeRozan. They're the backcourt. And at the 5, the 5th overall pick in the 2011 draft, a fleet-footed 6'11" big man out of Lithuania, Jonas Valanciunas. Then there's Rudy Gay, and it's Johnson in at the 4. And for Miami, Chalmers and D-Wade are the guards. And playing at the 5, the always versatile 6'11" star big man, able to score inside and out, Chris Bosh. Then it's LeBron James, and it's Haslam in at the power forward.
He's such a well-rounded offensive player. He's got a little bit of everything.
Here's DeRozan.
But coming off a title last year, you always wonder if a team will maybe relax a little bit. They usually won't admit to it, but Chris Bosh readily said it at times that his team had a difficult time lighting that fire again.
Now here's DeRozan, and it's blocked by Bosh. Oh, and a fast break for the Heat. Chalmers with the ball, and the shot is good. Wade's got his second bucket of the game to go.
Well, they are locked and loaded early, 3 for 3.
Go back to what Bosh said. I think that is true for every team, Clark, that comes off a championship, but they usually don't admit it like Bosh did.
Well, you know what? Once you've won it all, there is a bit of a relief and a little malaise that may settle over you, but I've always respected Bosh's candor. He's a guy who doesn't bite his tongue, and he articulates what he feels, and I think it's impressive that they fought back to the finals once more, because that shows they eventually did recapture that fire.
Here's LeBron after the made shot from Dwayne Wade. LeBron against Gay, and he was camped in the lane there, and he gets the 3-second call. And the Raptors off to a slow start. Still without a basket in the game. Oh, and the jam by Johnson.
You can see the eye contact there. Gave a little nod and then burst to the rim for the alley-oop slam.
No doubt, Clark. A pair of teammates with a terrific feel for each other out on the floor.
And what a play to make in a close game, a potential momentum builder.
You know, no denying it's been a heck of a run the last few years for the Heat, but you can't help but wonder if the impending 2014 summer of free agency could be the end of it all. The big three came together in a flash of lightning, it seemed, but it could end just as fast if one or all decide to opt out.
And there's a minute 45 left in the first quarter of the game. The pass to Chalmers. The second chance effort. And even 3-on-3 break. Gay, that's good. Gay's got his first points in this one.
Yeah, he didn't even bother to wait around for any help on that break.
That was a one-man job all the way, Steve. He knew what to do with it and when.
And Clark, as you were saying, the trio of LeBron, Wade, and Bosh all have options in their contracts to become free agents in 2014 if they choose to. And, Steve, you have to think that at least one or two of them might exercise that right.
Well, you know LeBron will, because he's the most underpaid athlete probably in the history of sports. He's worth 10 times what he makes. But it's going to be interesting to see what Miami does here the next couple of years with their roster.
Catching up on the changes for Toronto. Aaron Gray, he's checked in for Jonas Valanciunas. And Tyler Hansbrough's subbed in for Amir Johnson. Here is Lowry, following the basket by Chris Bosh. Gay passes to Lowry. And the Raptors tack on 2 more. Clock management. This is where, Steve, they can get a 2-for-1.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. As long as the first one's a good one, and now you play D, you get the ball back, one more shot.
Baseline try. Again, Toronto.
That lead pass allowed him to get straight to the hoop without losing any momentum.
Miami trailing. Chalmers. Lowry covering. The 10-footer. And he drops that one in. And here in the first quarter, with a little over 3.5 minutes played, back to Gay. Passes it to Lowry. 15 seconds left to play in the first.
He's far too tentative in the paint, and even more so when the defender is up tight on him like that time.
LeBron's shot is good.
Beautiful work in the transition game.
That's how to do it. Attack early before the defense can get itself set.
Lowry drives in. Rejected by Hazel. So at the end of 1 quarter of play, still a close game. Heat lead by 2. And don't go away. We'll be back momentarily. Up to this point, a closely contested game as we start the second quarter. And let's take a moment, guys, to get your take on the scoring so far for the Heat.
And the points they're getting in the lane will really help them open up the floor.
Also, what passing we've seen from them here early. I mean, there could be a big number in the assist column if this keeps up.
Here's Ross. Miami grabs the miss.
You know, it wasn't a surprise that the Raptors struggled on the road. Most young teams do. They were 13 and 28 as a visiting team. They did end the year looking a lot more dangerous on the road than they started, though.
And let's catch up with our sideline reporter, Doris Burke. Doris, over to you.
Well, Kevin, LeBron James, a career 33% shooter from long range, had never shot over 36% from long range until last year, when he shot over 40% from deep. He said over the summer working out, he'd punish himself for missed threes by running wind sprints. And with the Heat, he challenged Ray Allen to three-point contest, with the loser doing push-ups. James said he lost more than he won, but as much as he hates to lose, that competition drove him to improve. Kevin?
You know, you hear it all the time, Doris. Lead by example. He's a hard act to follow with his workout. Well, Clark, you were talking about the Raptors' struggles on the road. They didn't have the best road record at the end of the season, as you said, but, Steve, they did show some bite with their play.
You know, one of the interesting stats from the Raptors last year is they actually scored more points on the road than they did at home, and that rarely happens in the NBA. But I think the big thing with Toronto, their defense has to improve more than anything else.
Allen, that's good.
One of the great shooters in the history of the game. I mean, Ray Allen is just amazing with that deep range, incredible accuracy, and he can also put the ball on the deck a little bit once or twice, pull up jump shots, get to the foul line. Allen's just one of the most consistent scorers we've had in the game for a long time.
And he's rehearsed that motion for so long. It's automatic. I mean, it's something he can do in his sleep. He doesn't even think about the situation or the defender. He eyes his target and lets it fly.
Jonas Valanciunas, he's checked in for the Raptors. Johnson comes in for Tyler Hansbrough. Timeout called the Heat.
Well, no team likes to have their first-round pick belong to another team. It gets worse when you're a lottery team yourself and you're trying to build your talent base up. But the Raptors' number 12 pick in this summer's draft went to one of the elite teams in Oklahoma City.
Catching up on the changes with Miami. Chris Bosh is checked in for Anderson. Haslam comes in for Shane Battier. Dwayne Wade's checked in for Ray Allen. And it's Chalmers in for Norris Cole. Here's Augustine following the basket by LeBron James. And that one's good. Well, Clark, as you said, the Thunder got the Raptors' first selection this last year. Only the way the Raptors would have been able to hang on to it was, Steve, if they jumped up to the top 3 in the lottery.
And as bad as it might seem for the Raptors to not have a first, I mean, and it is bad, it was as good as any other time for them to not have a first-round pick because the draft wasn't deep, and the Raptors have a lot of young talent already and that they can make improvement with.
The Heat have gone 4 of 6 from the field here in the second. Can't hit. Great D that time from Johnson. Toronto trailing. And Augustine kicks to Ross. Sinks the triple. Ross has got 6 points in the quarter.
Boy, after having a tough time in the first, he's managed to turn it around nicely this quarter.
Feeds to Haslam. And that comes off the assist by Mario Chalmers. Chalmers has got 3 assists in the game. And Augustine kicks to Ross. The 15-footer. And that one's good. Ross has got 8 points. They have a chance to go 2 for 1 here.
Let's see how they play the clock.
No good. Great D that time from Augustine. Toronto's gone 2 for 5 from three-point land since the end of the first. And that one hits back iron.
Well, with that much space off the pick, you've got to drop that in.
Yeah, you got to make that one. I mean, that's a high-quality shot you should make 9 out of 10 times.
He kicks it to Ross. Dishes it to Augustine. He lobs up the alley-oop pass. And the slam dunk by Johnson.
Incredible timing on the alley-oop.
He absolutely hammered it down.
And that's the play we're going to remember when this game is all said and done.
And the first half ends in a close one.
And now, brought to you by Sprint.
Welcome to a Thursday edition.
The Sprint Halftime Report, presented by Sprint.
The third quarter now beginning. Both sides looking to pull away in the last half of the game.
A lot of people picked the Heat to run away with the East last year, and they were right on target. They were just so far and away better than any other team in the East that you just didn't see them losing much during the course of the season.
Let's go to our sideline reporter, Doris Burke. Doris, what do you have?
Kevin, thank you. There was a lot of thought about how the Heat could improve after they lost to the Mavs in the 2011 NBA Finals. Called for a veteran point guard, but the team felt comfortable with who they had. Coach Eric Spoelstra said, "We felt we had one of the younger point guard tandems in the league that we can build on and offer us championship minutes right now." They grew into that role and were a big part of their back-to-back titles. Spoelstra says they earned it with their hard work, and he couldn't be happier, guys.
Thanks a lot, Doris. Mark, as you said, the Heat clinched the East pretty early and were able to rest up a lot of their players down the stretch. Steve, never easy to win when everyone expects you to win games, but the Heat didn't seem fazed by the pressure at all.
Well, this is a championship team, and I think once you win that first title, you get a different level of confidence, and that showed last season as Miami rolled to their second title in a row. Well, Miami stormed through the regular season and were viewed as the clear-cut favorites to come out of the East, but it was not as easy as expected. After sweeping Milwaukee, the Bulls gave them a scare, then the Pacers really took them deep all the way to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals. And Kevin, he's really solidified his role as the closer on this team. You know, Miami struggled to figure out whether they'd go to LeBron or Bosh or Wade at first. I think Wade has become the guy.
Well, I tell you what, it's nice to have two guys that are capable of closing, Steve. And I agree with you, though. His aggressiveness and confidence probably give him a slight edge in closing over LeBron. You can play great defense on him, but he still typically finds a way to get the shot he wants.
Both free throws good from Wade. And for the Heat, the Pacers were their first real test, it seemed, and they had to survive a win or go home against him. It almost seemed, Clark, to take away any momentum they might have had when they went up against the Spurs in the finals.
You know, it's interesting. When I think of momentum in the playoffs, it doesn't carry over from game to game or series to series. I think each game, Kevin, is really an entity in and of itself. That said, Miami found a way, despite being pushed by the Pacers and being pushed by the Spurs, both to Game 7. It came down to LeBron James's brilliance, but also the hot shooting of a complimentary role-playing winner, Shane Battier.
Here's Bosh. That falls. Nice feed that time from Dwayne Wade. Bosh has got 5. The Raptors have gotten just one of their first 4 shots to fall since coming out of Milwaukee with the break. Johnson kicks to Gay. Working on James. Shot from the wing. The shot is off. Now the Heat take it the other way.
Well, an interesting revelation regarding Rudy Gay came out recently. I mean, he's had vision issues for years and refused to wear corrective lenses, contacts, or goggles. That might explain why a player with such a great looking stroke will struggle with his shooting percentages from outside.
Clark, third quarter here, and 5 lead changes so far.
Yeah, it's really been a bit of a tug of war. Back and forth we go.
Yeah, both teams playing well. Neither club able to pull away.
And the Heat call time here. And Clark, you talked about Rudy Gay declining to wear contact lenses. Steve, that doesn't seem to make any sense to me.
Well, there's got to be a good reason for it, and I haven't talked to Rudy about it. But look, I mean, every player has to be comfortable out on the floor. You either wear goggles or wear contacts or don't wear anything at all. I mean, it's whatever is comfortable, that's the most important thing.
And Toronto making a change here. Hansbrough's checked in. Haslam gets it to go. Haslam's got 6 points. Toronto, they've gone 2 of 6 from the field here in the third. Lowry dishes to Gay. And he dumps it in right on Chris Bosh. Oh, man.
Talk about putting something extra on it. That dunk was way over the top.
Close game or not, Clark, he's going to finish firm when he gets the space.
Still, I mean, it's startling that he'd even try that right now.
You know, the Raptors really struggled against the rest of the conference last year, only going 22-30. And that certainly doesn't put any fear in the opponents. They're looking to improve on that this season.
Here is Lowry. Ray Allen picking up that last basket. And it's good. 6 points for Rudy Gay.
Wow, this has been a thriller. I mean, the way these teams are battling, just going back and forth.
Would you like to bet that this game may end on a buzzer beater? How much would you bet?
Well, back to the Raptors, I would expect them to end up with a better win total against the East this year, as they have seemed to, Steve, found a bit of their identity at the end of the season.
Well, they made some dramatic changes in the middle of the year, trading for Rudy Gay, and I think ultimately it might be for the best, as they seem to play with more bite as the season wore on. They had more edge, a little more talent, so now they have to put it all together.
And that one's good. Valanciunas has got his second basket of the game.
And it feels like the energy has just picked up big time here. Both teams now feeding off each other's intensity.
I don't know what was said in the locker rooms at halftime, Steve, but it's obvious both sides have responded well.
Well, every once in a while, he'll show us some pretty good moves around the hoop.
The shot and game clock separated by 4. Ball's knocked loose. And Hansbrough kicks to DeRozan. And that one is hammered home.
I think they gave him a little too much room there. I mean, that was all he needed to rise up and punch that one down.
Yeah, he's going to jump at those chances, guys.
Yeah, that's what he does. He is a high flyer.
And that one's good.
Raining down buckets for Bosh right now.
Gay, that's a 2-pointer. Oh, and he just knocked down the buzzer beater.
Pretty shot without a second to spare.
That can be so
It's still anybody's game. Welcome back, everyone. We're ready to get going again as this presentation of the NBA on 2K Sports continues. Players are topped off with Gatorade, hydrated, and ready to get going again as well. And let's take a moment here to get your guys' take on scoring so far for the Raptors.
They've knocked down plenty of mid-range jumpers in this one. That's been big for them.
And they're getting so much penetration on the defense that they're getting a lot of easy buckets as a result of breaking down that defense.
Now the feed to Lowry. Raptors leading by 5. Johnson, the pass to Gay. Wade is covering. Kicks it out to Johnson. Shot clock at 5. And it's Lowry penetrating. Rejected by Haslem. Oh, and a fast break for the Heat. Wade with it. Gay picks him up defensively. Tries to keep it alive. And that'll be Miami as it goes out of bounds. The Heat retain possession. Wade kicks to LeBron. And the dunk to finish it off. Beauty.
Wow, fans just getting their money's worth tonight. Really entertaining ball game.
It has been. The margin separating these teams has been paper thin.
Toronto's shooting has been fun to watch in this game. They're at 57%. Johnson outside. Toronto calls timeout.
Looks like he saw some things out there that needed adjusting and wants to talk it over a little bit with his club.
I don't think you can ever go wrong burning a timeout if you see something you don't like and you need to talk about it.
And I think Doris Burke has something for us right now. Doris?
Yes, Kevin. Dwayne Casey was just going over the plan with his team. He told them the game is right there for the taking, fellas, but we've got to be first. First to loose balls, first to the rim. We have to give our all right here. Kevin, now's the time.
And count the basket. He was fouled, and he's going to the line for one more.
Shooting for Miami, Udonis Haslem. Shooting 1.
That's good from Haslem. We've gone about a minute and a half into the fourth quarter. Back to Johnson. Kicks to Gay. And he can't bank that one in. The Heat have gone 2 of 4 from the field since we started the final quarter of play. And it's blocked by DeRozan. Rudy Gay on the wing. Uses the glass to finish the layup. Gay's got 4 this quarter.
You know, tired legs can affect you at the defensive end, and I think that's what's happening right here.
I agree, because as much offense as we saw early, we're seeing even more of it here late.
This has not at all been the kind of performance they've needed out of him.
And there's the call on Bosh. That is his first foul of the game. Toronto calls timeout. They're up by 4. 1:57 left to play in the final quarter. .157 left here in the fourth quarter. Open shot, Johnson, the putback, and the dunk by Valanciunas. And the Raptors lead by 6.
Boy, they are having their way in the paint right now. So many looks right at the rim.
Defensive rotations have been a step slow, and it's helped them get the ball in close time after time, Steve. The defense left him just a little window to get through, and he just ducked in for the layup. Terrific job.
And stolen by Chalmers. To the inside. Here's LeBron. And misses it off the right side of the rim.
You know, he's been off his game this quarter just a bit. Hasn't been able to get a whole lot to go so far.
DeRozan dishes to Lowry. Gay with it. He's picked up by LeBron. And...
Ridiculous.
Tore it down that time.
Nasty. Absolutely filthy.
And the building is stunned, partner. He dug deep into his bag of tricks there.
Well, I hope he keeps that one handy. I want to see that again.
Raptors leading by 4. Tipped away. 56 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Lowry kicks to Gay. Takes a shot at the elbow.
When he's wide open like that, he'll rarely miss those.
LeBron passes to Wade. It's good! And he has brought them to within 2 points.
This is exactly what happens when you allow Chris Bosh to get going.
Guys are not going to be in any rush on this possession.
Not with the lead. I mean, now's the time to use the clock to your advantage. Take your time. Milk the clock a little bit.
Well, I'm not necessarily a big fan of him shooting that shot, but they did give him the space.
Yes! What a beautiful shot to bring him to within 3.
Well, I love to see D-Wade shoot the ball.
There's a 4-second difference from the shot clock to the game clock. He doesn't hit the first, and that was the one they really wanted. He's got one more, though. And he ends up missing both free throws.
Well, you've got to get it done at the line in that situation. Now we've still got a game.
They grabbed their own miss. Good! And what a sensational bucket to bring them within 1.
Ooh, a pressure basket right there.
Now that's coming through in the clutch.
Smart foul there. You've got to try to extend the game.
Yeah, it's still close, but they're fighting that clock as much as the score right now.
So he drops them both. It's a 3-point game.
Perfect time to be perfect at the line. Now only a 3 can tie it.
Here's LeBron. Misses the tray. Sinks it. And that shot brings them to within just 1.
Well, the defense just looked a little lazy on the glass there.
Yeah, nobody boxing out. That's inexcusable.
And there's the intentional foul. No choice but to stop the clock here. First free throw is good, and that will put them up by 2. Both free throws here. So now it's a 3-point game. Timeout called the Heat. They're trailing by 3. 3 seconds left in the fourth quarter. What's your take, guys?
They need a 3 to tie, and they have enough time here to get a good look if they play their cards right. We'll see how they do.
Misses the 3.
Boy, they almost tied it up with that shot.
Boy, they're this close here in the fourth.